You see I have this trusty iPhone, and I get emails on it a bunch of times a day from people in Chilhowie, Virginia, and this is for the Chilhowie Show. And they tell me all kinds of things. I mean, this one person writes me and says, there's this cop that likes underage girls. I got another email that says Rick the prick, he pays girls to strip for him while he's on duty, and that when the woman in Chilhowie got raped at the Halloween party, that he guarded the door and watched while the other two cops raped her. So if that's the case, I mean, in my thinking, that makes him an accomplice to the crime. And when I pulled the bus into the park there at Chilhowie, he came right over to the bus and he shined the light up in the front window of the bus and goes, "Are those your kids?" And it was like, this guy had a real unhealthy interest in children right away. I mean, he didn't know me from Adam. And this guy's freaking out, man, wanting to know about the kids, you know. And it's like, he's a real weird guy. Anyway, Rick the prick, I hope you're listening tonight, and I hope that all those people start coming forward. So it's, you know, I get a lot of emails from really nice people in Chilhowie that are sick and fed up with this bullshit, the way the town's being run into the ground, and the scum that's running it. And they want to see some people go, and people losing their jobs, and relatives of the elite getting jobs instead. And so I just pretty much read what I get emails about anymore. It seems pretty messed up to me. You know, I don't think that police department's ever going to redeem itself. But if there's more gals out there, and this is what I've been told on emails, several emails from several different people, if there's more gals that have been out there that have been sexually abused by people that are employees of the town of Chilhowie, you really need to put up with the bullshit and come forward and tell your story, because if you think it's going to stop with you, you're wrong. It's going to keep on going on, you know. And a lot of these places, you know, the powers that be keep staying in denial that this stuff's going on, or that, you know, it's being exaggerated or whatever, because they don't want to face that their grid, their network is going to get broken up if some of these key players in it start doing hard time for what they're doing. So anyway, keep sending me emails. I think we're up in 7,500 on the Chilhowie Bill Boswell video. We're like a couple thousand on one video, another video, and so we got over 10,000 hits probably on just the Chilhowie story. When we get like 50 hits on our video per day, you know, for each video, for day 300 we get 50 hits, and we leave it at that, and that's about all it does. And we got people, you know, looking nonstop. There's articles published in the Smith paper about this whole darn thing, you know, which reminds me, we didn't come and get settled into the park at Chilhowie. Our bus rolled up. We were told we had a problem with the horse. I offered to move it. Bill Boswell didn't refuse to let me keep the horse in the park. Bill Boswell refused to help find a place for the horse in the town of Chilhowie, a very big place with a lot of horse owners. Many of those horse owners who have since wrote me emails and said, you could have kept your horse at my place if you'd known where I was. Well, Bill Boswell wasn't interested in that. Don't drive your RV and stay at Chilhowie, because they don't want RVs in Chilhowie, and they got no place for them to park, and they're not welcome anyway. So the guy who wrote into the forums and the article in the Smith County paper, you got to get your facts straight. Bill Boswell came to me, and the first thing out of his mouth before I said anything was, "Give me a name. Who told you you could put your horse here?" He's really rude. I said, "Hey man, I'll move him. Marion's just up the road, you know. I don't need that." So Bill Boswell, you're great for the city of Chilhowie, and I hope you're around for a good long time. And I hope all the other people get fed up and start telling the stories of what's really going on in the town of Chilhowie. Let's see, what do we got here? We got another email. It says, you know, how did Rick the Prick get away, talk himself out of getting arrested on standing there while these two other cops raped this girl? I don't know. You tell me. It's your town, and I have no idea, you know, how he could get away with that. But I've had 3 emails about this same story now, that there was a witness to the rape, and that the witness got off, and this person's saying that it was Rick the Prick, and you know, if you got another name, you know, there's this other officer running around that whacks underage girls. Maybe it's Rick the Prick. I mean, this guy, he acts like a real pedophile, you know, the way he, like, I mean, has this unhealthy inclination for voyeurism, you know, watching other people have non-consensual sex. So anyway, I'd really watch him. I wouldn't want to be him being a cop in my town, that's for sure, man. So anyway, you could write a book about what's going on in Chilhowie. Somebody ought to do it. It'd probably be a bestseller in Virginia. I like the name too, you know, Chilhowie. It's sort of like, let's get chilled, shall we? You know, let's like get a bad feeling, shall we? It's that kind of a deal, and we'll see what keeps happening from all this. Oh, and then there was the other thing about that. Some dickhead in City Hall was saying, you should see the guy's Homeland Security file got deported from Thailand for mucking it up. You know what? I got the Queen of Thailand in trouble at the UN in Geneva for stealing poor people's land. And I got kicked out of Thailand for doing that. And I'm proud of it, because she's a greedy bastard. And I've picketed the Thais about this before. They've gone through an incredible amount of grief for that little fiasco called the Hill Area Development Project. Top officials in the UN have condemned the project. The project had to take its website down off the internet. How many people there in Chilhowie have stood a head of state on their nose for being a greedy ass? You know? And we deal with a lot of cases with the army and police murdering people in the middle of the night. And yeah, I don't mind getting deported out of Thailand. They deported me, put me on a plane, didn't charge me with any crime because no crime was committed. And they just said, well, we don't need you around here anymore. And I told them, I said, hey, you sure you want to do this? And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, when I go to the U.S., I'm going to have fast computers, I have access to the UN, and I'll have a lot of spare time in my hands to bring this up with officials at the UN level, which is what happened in the last couple of years. And so, and Homeland Security, you know, those guys, they do what the State Department tells them. And the U.S. Embassy staff in Bangkok, they're not exactly crackerjack folks, you know. They seem to look the other way for an awful lot of things that go on in Thailand, like the Leahy Amendment. They're supposed to vet Thai army and police security forces, and if they've committed a human rights abuse, they're supposed to put them on a list and not allow them access to U.S. weapons. That's the Leahy Amendment. They didn't vet anybody. They admitted it. The General Accounting Office printed it in the report. They hadn't vetted anybody. So there you go. So much for the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok. Anyway, we'll talk at you later. Well, this is still the Chilhowie Show. I don't know if I'm going to get any sleep tonight or not. Somebody writes me in and says, you know, You know, Rick the prick is running around with a gun, and he's on medication. And he shouldn't be running around with a gun. The guy shouldn't be allowed to have a gun. He's on all these meds, man. So, anyway, that was one. And then it says, I guess the police chief now is called Chief Steve Price, right? And the person writes in and goes, well, I hope that Steve Price was better as an air marshal because he's not worth a damn on the ground. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. An air marshal, you know. Let's see what else we got here. I don't know if I can get any sleep tonight or not. Yeah. So, keep them coming. It's becoming entertainment. And we get a lot of people that are starting to just follow the videos just for the Chilhowie Show. Cracks me up. It's better as a... I hope he's better in the air than he is on the ground. Yeah, I'm up late making this Chilhowie Show #2. We've got some in the Dogs and Worms on aka.org. If you go to our main website, you look up in the contents, dogs and worms. Those are lower life forms. And people who are shitheads, we put them in dogs and worms, okay? And this applies to a few people, a few scumbags who happen to run the town of Chilhowie. And tonight there was a city council meeting in Chilhowie, and Police Chief Price said that he was going to have me investigated. What? For spending 2 hours in your town? For what? Freedom of speech? We are in America, and if you want to run a little Nazi operation down there in Chilhowie, you can do it, but you will not be welcome in the rest of America, let me tell you. It's you who got a cop on your police force who saw a girl raped and didn't say nothing about it and didn't try to stop it. Matter of fact, he was the doorkeeper. And I don't care what kind of deals they cut with him, he ain't fit to be a cop, and he shouldn't be wearing a badge or a gun. He's disgrace to anybody who calls himself a law enforcement officer. And if you can't figure out that situation, then maybe your same things apply to you. Okay, so the people in Chilhowie need to figure out what a pitchfork looks like in the barn. Go out to the barn, find your pitchfork, identify it, and take it down to your next city council meeting. Because that's what people do when they're pissed off at how a few scumbags are running their town, all right? We get emails about people being sexually abused in your town by cops. Apparently something is very dysfunctional there. If the people of Chilhowie are so intimidated by the bastards running the town that they got to write a total stranger and say, look, this is what's happening to us. Pretty disgusting if you ask me. And this Bill Boswell guy, we didn't ask to keep our horse in the park. We asked if there was any land, any empty fields, any place in Chilhowie where we could keep the horse. We know there's a bunch of horse people in the town, but we were gladly moved on to Marion, and we were in town maybe less than 2 hours. We're glad we didn't stay, and we're easy to get along with. We move on. And I want to say something to you Baptists. Can't you read? It says on the video, if you don't like profanity, don't watch the damn video. So what's your problem? How do you read a Bible if you can't read YouTube? That video is forbidden for Baptists. If you're Baptist, you got no right watching that video. It will dirty up your mind with words you ain't heard before. At least none the pastor will admit to. Yeah. Old Police Chief Price. You know, I was hoping for a minute that the police chief might be a straight up guy with a little bit of intelligence. And you know, the people in Virginia are so friendly, the police are so professional. I'm thinking, God, I hope the new police chief ain't like the old one. But you know, I got my doubts now. And the mayor, well, I still don't know about the mayor, but he seems to be part of the power elite. But I'll give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt and leave that one up for question still. What I hear over and over is that a few people, many of them coming from the Baptist church, run the town of Chilhowie. Hire and fire, do what they want. Well, like I say, go to the barn, find your pitchforks.